The journey of animation from primitive drawings to the digital masterpieces of today is nothing short of fascinating. Archaeological discoveries reveal that as early as 30,000 BC, our ancestors were attempting to depict movement in their drawings. A striking illustration of this early ambition is seen in this Bronze Age pottery bowl, which vividly depicts goats in mid-lip, showcasing humanity's long-standing interest in bringing life to art. Over thousands of years, the way we show movement in art has changed a lot. Animation has grown into a rich and sophisticated field, offering a wide range of styles to suit all kinds of tastes. You could say we are spoiled for choice. But have you ever stopped to think about how we got here? Long before Disney, inventors and artists were already weaving the magic of motion into static images. They relied on a variety of mechanical devices to create the illusion of movement. From simple flip books to complex machines like the zoetrope and the praxinoscope, these early tools, blending art and mechanics, laid the foundation for the animated storytelling that enriches our screens today. Let's dive into the history and explore the 6 early animation devices that shaped the industry into what it is now. The story of animation, and even a broader story of cinema, begins with the Magic Lantern. Despite its enchanting name, the Magic Lantern wasn't a genie lamp that could grant wishes. Rather, it was an early image projector. The device was invented at the very beginning of the 17th century by a Dutch scientist Christian Huygens and marked the dawn of visual storytelling. This simple yet revolutionary device used a candle to shine light through a glass slide with images on it, projecting pictures onto a surface. A skilled projectionist could quickly switch slides to give the illusion of movement, introducing people to a form of animation for the first time. But what's interesting is that Christian Huygens originally regretted inventing the Magic Lantern. He was a true man of science, deeply invested in the study of light, optics, and timekeeping, among other fields. His invention of the Magic Lantern was initially just a byproduct of his experiments with light and optics. And so, despite the innovative nature and the joy it brought to many, Huygens worried that the Magic Lantern was too playful and that it might lead people away from the meaningful study of the natural world. Luckily, it made its way out into the world anyway, evolving from entertainment to educational tool and becoming a popular toy by the late 19th century. The thaumatrope, which more or less translates as wonder turner from ancient Greek, is often celebrated as one of the simplest yet most magical of early animation devices. It consists of a card with 2 different pictures on each side, held by 2 strings. When the strings are twirled quickly between the fingers, the 2 images appear to blend into one. The most popular combination was a cage on one side and a bird on the other. Invented in the early 19th century, around 1824, the thaumatrope is attributed to a British physician, John Ayrton Paris. Initially, it was created to demonstrate the persistence of vision phenomenon, where an image remains on the retina of our eyes for a fraction of a second after its source has been removed. And this way, thaumatrope debunked the myth that the mind and eye could only focus on one image at a time, illustrating the complex nature of human perception. John Ayrton Paris popularized this invention through its commercial production in 1825. The boxes of 12 or 18 discs were sold as the thaumatrope, being rounds of amusement or how to please and surprise by turns, which is quite a brilliant name in my opinion for an illusion of motion toy set. Victorian audiences loved it, but more importantly, it got people thinking that showing drawings in rapid succession could create the illusion of continuous motion. As you can imagine, it was a significant realization for the future of animation. Right now, you would be forgiven for thinking 2 things. First, the word phenakistoscope seems difficult to pronounce.
That's a hard one.
And second, a phenakistoscope sounds like something a doctor would use during a medical procedure. But it was actually the earliest animation device to demonstrate continuous movement. Building upon the foundational principle of persistence of vision which we discussed before, this device not only exemplifies the concept but elevates it, demonstrating its practical application in a way that had never been seen before. This is how it works. Images are drawn around a cardboard disc, with slits cut between them. A handle-equipped spindle goes through the disc's center, allowing it to be spun by a hand. The disc is then placed with its images facing a mirror. When you spin the disc and look through the slits, the fast-changing pictures blend into one smooth and ongoing animation. Yeah, GIFs of the 19th century looked like this. One interesting aspect of the phenakistoscope was its limitation to a single viewer at a time, making it a very personal experience. It's like the early version of today's VR headsets, offering a unique personal experience with each spin. Actually, if you're interested in exploring the role of virtual reality in the future of cinema, I have a separate video about it on my channel. Check it out later if you want. But back to phenakistoscope. Despite its individual use, the phenakistoscope became a popular parlor toy in Europe, reflecting the public's growing fascination with optical illusions and moving pictures. A funny fact about the invention of phenakistoscope is that it was actually invented by two different people almost at the same time. Inspired by the work of English scientist Michael Faraday, the Belgian physicist Joseph Plato started to experiment with optical illusion as a university student in the late 1820s, which would eventually lead him to create the phenakistoscope a few years later. At the same time, the Austrian mathematician and inventor Simon von Stumpfer was also inspired by the work of Faraday, and he too invented a version of the phenakistoscope, which he named the stroboscope. The simultaneous invention of these devices not only enriched the field of optical entertainment, but also laid the groundwork for the future of animated and moving images. The zoetrope was essentially an improved version of the phenakistoscope. It transitioned from a flat disc design to a cylindrical drum, allowing direct viewing through slits instead of relying on mirror reflections. When the cylinder is spun and viewed through the slits, the images come to life, creating a captivating animation loop. It was originally developed by British mathematician William George Horner in 1834. He named it the Daedalum, in a nod to the Greek myth of Daedalus. But nothing really happened with this device for more than 30 years. Then, in 1867, William Lincoln patented the word zoetrope, which was a combination of Greek words zoe, life, and tropos, turning, to translate as wheel of life. And a board game company, Milton Bradley, began selling the cylinders and making them a big hit. The zoetrope was more social than the phenakistoscope, because multiple people could experience the animation at the same time. And it also became more practical. Unlike the phenakistoscope, which required a separate device for each animation, the zoetrope's design allowed people to easily switch out strips for different sequences. This social and versatile device became a beloved Victorian parlor toy. Children loved spinning their zoetropes and gazed in delight at the primitive animated images of moving horses and other animals. It brought the magic of motion pictures into homes, amusing and astonishing people of all ages. The principle of this simple device laid the groundwork for the development of later motion picture devices and ultimately the modern cinema. And it is still used today in educational settings to demonstrate basic animation principles. Yep, the flipbook we all know is technically called a kineograph. Latin for moving picture, kineograph sounds much fancier, right? Almost everyone has made their own flipbook in school, and how it works is very simple. You basically draw a sequence of images in a book and then use your thumb to flick through the pages quickly to create the illusion of motion. Fun fact, the German word for flipbook is Daumenkino, which translates to thumb cinema. When you create your own flipbook, it's probably the simplest form of hand-drawn animation there is. A flipbook doesn't need to be hand-drawn though. It can be a series of photos or printed illustrations. It's a limited animation, but it's also a lot of fun. No one really knows when the first flipbook was created, and it's often assumed that it must predate devices like the phenakistoscope. Unfortunately, there is no real evidence of this. The only thing we know for sure is that the kineograph was patented in 1868 by John Barnes-Linnet. The flipbook marked a crucial advancement in making animation accessible to everyone, bypassing the need for complicated equipment. Over time, it evolved into various forms, including the mutoscope, which mechanized the flipbook concept. Early animators often cited flipbooks as a source of inspiration, and in 2007, Disney paid tribute to this invention attention by starting its films with a flipbook-style production logo sequence. And even nowadays, despite its simplicity, the flipbook remains a popular source of entertainment and artistic expression, showcasing the timeless charm of basic animation techniques. The next iteration of the evolution of animation devices is the Praxinoscope. The successor of the zoetrope, the name of the device has its roots in ancient Greek, roughly translating as action viewer. It was invented in 1877 by the French inventor Charles-Émile Renault. It's similar to the zoetrope in the way that it uses the same motion technique, and it also has a strip of sequential pictures inside a cylinder. But it made a new development that made it a significant improvement of the zoetrope. When the outer drum containing the strip of pictures was turned rapidly, the image reflected in the mirrors appeared to remain stationary, and the rapid succession of images then gave the illusion of motion to the stationary reflections. This setup provided a clearer, brighter, and less distorted view of the animation. That's why the Praxinoscope was celebrated for its superior image quality and smoother animation, making it a favored device for entertainment and study. An interesting fact about Renault is that he took his invention further by developing first the Praxinoscope Theater and then the Theater Optique. His devices were responsible for what is considered the first ever projected animated film, making Renault a true animation pioneer. As you enjoy the latest animated film or series, take a moment to appreciate the journey from those early devices to the digital animations we cherish now. Their inventors, fueled by simple ideas and a passion for bringing the inanimate to life, have greatly influenced our entertainment world and continue to inspire modern artists. If you're fascinated by animation history and want to learn more, check out my video about the first computer-generated character, which was another important milestone in animation's evolution. But for now, paka paka! The success... My words... Not like... Never mind. Cinema. Huygens. I already forgot.